All right. Welcome in, everybody, to the Jay Sheldon Show. Appreciate you being here. Hit the follow and the a thumbs up button if you can. It's free wherever you may be. We're all live on X and on Twitter, Rumble, Twitter. You know, still, I try to stick to X, but I screw up now and then and still call it Twitter once in a while. That is so ingrained. Anyway, you'll also see our show on YouTube. It's a tape of the show, and we put it up there shortly after we're done here being live. So anyway, heartbreaking news, an absolute tragedy. Sarah Beckstrom, one of the two members of the National Guard that were shot in that terrorist attack in Washington, D.C., has tragically passed away. President Trump breaking the news. Do we have? Yeah, we do. Here is, make sure I've got volume here. Here is President Trump releasing that info to the public.
Seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. That's horrible.
Absolutely. So, yeah. U.S. Attorney Judge Jeannie Pirro shared a bit of background on Beckstrom. Said, our hearts and prayers go out to the family of the 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom of the National Guard, a hero who volunteered to serve D.C. on Thanksgiving for people she never met and gave the ultimate sacrifice. May she rest in peace. Now is the time to avenge her death and secure justice. She was just, as the judge said, 20 years old. Her father, Gary, had shared with the New York Times that his daughter had suffered a mortal wound and was not expected to survive. The father of Sarah Beckstrom, one of the wounded National Guard members, said his daughter was unlikely to recover. I'm holding her hand right now, Beckstrom said when reached by phone. She has a mortal wound and is not going to be a recovery. He declined to talk any further. And now, of course, she has lost the battle. The whole family has not given any interviews, obviously. Someone who was at the house told reporters that all they were asking for was prayers, and we certainly send those. You keep the victims and their families in your thoughts and in your prayers. Incredibly difficult time for them. And to have it happen during the holidays makes it just that more difficult. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, he's not putting up with any crap. D.C. will be on lockdown until further notice. Here is Beckstrom on the steps and his announcement.
Very productive meetings, but I want to start by saying after those meetings, myself and my team were notified that 2 National Guardsmen have been shot in Washington, D.C., critically wounded. The shooter shot in a cowardly, dastardly act targeting the best of America, heroes willing to serve in Washington, D.C., serve for people they don't know and they've never met because they love their country and their capital and their community. They were willing to do dangerous things others were not because they love their fellow Americans. Someone decided to turn that into targeting National Guardsmen. That will only stiffen our resolve. We will never back down. We will secure our capital. We will secure our cities. In fact, this happened just steps away from the White House. It will not stand. And that's why President Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of the Army, to the National Guard, to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve.
Good on you. Good on you, Secretary Hegseth. We need it. A rather interesting side story to this is the fact that there was a huge spike in searches for this person, the shooter's name, in the hours before the attack, which means some people knew something was going to happen with this guy. Maybe checking to see if he'd completed his task. He is a known CIA asset, trained member of a covert unit of assassins. Make no mistake, whether he came to the U.S. on an SIV visa or humanitarian parole, he has a sponsor, a handler, and a detailed dossier. You can take that check to the bank and cash it. They know exactly who he is. And the question is, who was he working for in this operation? This Guardsman shooting just does not add up like so many things that have happened in the last few years. Rosmanullah Lakanwai, CIA-backed Kandahar Strike Force vet, ties to the CIA, as well as a partner force in Kandahar. And the searches for his name spiked on Google hours before the shooting. And guess what? Right on cue, all the evidence was wiped by Google. Search for his name, this is what comes up. Your search doesn't have enough data to show here. Really? Well, it just so happens that some people took screenshots in case somebody decided to wipe things clean later. Here is a video of that screenshot. There you go. Interest over time. And look at this big spike. Says a lot, doesn't it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, how do I get rid of this? There we go. So thank you, Google. Danny says we haven't closed out the show with a prayer lately. We should start that as backup. Many prayers as we can get up there. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Mr. Trump is in a bit of a mood. President Trump went absolutely berserk on the fake news. He does that. He was asked, why are you blaming Biden for the D.C. National Guard attack? And he didn't hold back.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let him in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go, we were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake. But
they certainly did. Karen, hey, we have not heard from you in forever. Wow, great to hear from you. Karen says similar spike in search histories of the Charlie Kirk assassination. Yes, I saw that, as a matter of fact. I think we talked about that at the time. But yeah, there was a similar spike before they assassinated Charlie Kirk. So yeah, it's things that make you go, Incredible. Love it when 47 gets a little pissed. Are you a stupid person? You know, that's what people gotta love about this guy, is he just calls them like he sees them. Why not? Well, guess who's back in the news? It's Fibbin' Fauci, and we're going to tell you all about that coming up in just a bit. Right now, though, we are going to tell you about our fantastic sponsor. Their product is right here in this cup. I just made that, so it's piping hot. I had to be careful. It's Blackout coffee, of course. Blackout coffee. Look, folks, you're going to spend your money on a good cup of coffee. Don't do it to woke companies that hate you. Shop with a company that shares your values, our values, and that is Blackout Coffee. They are a Christian conservative group of guys and gals over there who really do care a lot about what goes on. And Blackout Friday is here. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you about my discount code. All I ask is that you use the link down there in our show notes to get to the site, because their discount code is a lot better. Check this out for Blackout Friday. It starts right now, 25% off everything. 30% off if you spend $75 or more, and 35% off when you spend $100 or more. Now, look, I'll be honest, $100 to spend on coffee is quite a bit of cash. But you go over there and buy a cup. I think a bag of beans or ground coffee is maybe $15, $16. So you buy a couple of bags and you're right there. You get 25% off everything anyway. And if you just spend an extra $10, you're going to wind up with $75. You get 30% off. Check these deals out. They are fantastic. Karen says she's still subscribed to Blackout Coffee because of me. Thank you very much. And 2A is my favorite. That is a great blend. Second Amendment blend. My favorite is the Pitch Black Espresso. They've got pods. They do instant coffee, cold brewed. They've got all kinds of amazing flavored coffees, including some flavors for the holidays. But do check them out. You want to pick up a couple of bags? Make great Christmas gifts, by the way. They use only premium beans. They roast them only after you order. Ship them out within 24 to 48 hours. And you got a fresh bag of beans at your doorstep. Also now on some of their more popular roasts, they've got ground. You can opt to have them grind the beans for you. Look at that. See that? Ground for Brutal Awakening, Morning Reaper. Again, pods, instant, all those great flavors. Peppermint mocha, candy cane, winter wonderland, all great gifts, ideas. like I said, use those promo codes for their Blackout Friday sale. Look, if you want to, you can use the code J20, JAY20, at checkout. If you're a first-time customer, you'll get 20% off. But check out these other deals on their Blackout Friday sale because they're fantastic. All I ask, like I said, is that you please use the link to get to Blackout Coffee that is down in our show notes. And that means even if you're reordering, use that link so we get the credit for your visit. And it really helps the show out a lot. Thank you, everybody. Karen, Danny, I know you're both customers. And wow, much love right back at you. Thanks, guys. Blackout Coffee. Do it. Do it today. The coffee for patriots. That would be you. All right, let's get to this lion little dweeb. FDA commissioner says the left's hero engaged in a massive cover-up of the origin of COVID. You and I already knew this. The left, well, they like to live in this little, blinders on fantasy world. If you're like me, when you hear the name Dr. Anthony Fauci, you kind of grimace a bit. You're like, And like so many, my friends deeply affected by this draconian COVID regime run by Saint Tony, Joe Biden, governors like Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, local health officials like LA County's doctor, not a medical doctor, by the way, Barbara Ferrer, repeatedly spread nothing but bullcrap misinformation, locked us down way past the point of anything rational, and just generally lived out their little dictator fantasies with mRNA vaccine mandates, made up distance rules. Remember the circles in the supermarkets? Masks, all that other crap they forced down our throats. Well, now, the FDA Commissioner, Marty Makary, is alleging that Fauci is guilty of even more, leading a massive cover-up into the origins of COVID, which they first told us came from a wet market in Wuhan, China, ignoring the fact that there is a massive biosafety level 4 Wuhan Institute of Virology right next door. They assured us, don't worry about the bat virus experiments they're conducting there. It's just a coinkydink. And Makary says it's all Fauci disinformation campaign. Dr. Anthony Fauci orchestrated a massive cover-up about the origins of COVID-19 while serving as a top public health official during the coronavirus pandemic. That, according to Marty Makary, the Food and Drug Administration's commissioner. A former professor at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, and he was on the Podforce One podcast. The host, Miranda Devine, said that as a director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, NAID, N-A-I-D, Fauci went to great lengths to suppress the theory that COVID-19 leaked out of that research lab in China, something very few in the medical community even picked up on. One thing that is extremely obvious is that very few people realize, and certainly hardly anyone in the medical establishment, came to realize that Fauci was involved in this massive cover-up of the origins of COVID. Former President Biden, or his auto pen, preemptively pardoned the good doctor, chief medical advisor to the president in January, for any crimes he might have committed. Oh, just in case you did commit a crime, I'll give you a blanket cover pardon for everything. If that doesn't shout and scream corruption, I don't know what does. McCary suggests the pardon related to Fauci's alleged role in the cover-up, which he argued supersedes any of the massive disagreements he has with the way he advised the public and government leaders during the pandemic. Only recently, he says, did Anthony Fauci take it to the next level of using science as political propaganda. He commissioned the pieces that lied about the COVID origins. The author who submitted the article said this was commissioned by Dr. Fauci and Dr. Francis Collins, former director of the National Institute of Health. You remember him preaching about you can feel good about having Thanksgiving if your family's vaccinated? Remember that line of absolute horseshit? It is impossible to ignore how Fauci weaponized the holidays into tools of emotional control to get under your skin and framing normal once-a-year family gatherings as reckless acts that could kill people. That's how he made you feel. And it was all bullcrap. He wasn't giving safety advice. He was enforcing a narrative that rewired how everybody saw each other and turned family members into enforcers of vaccine compliance. Oh, you're not vaccinated? You can't come to dinner. And once you see how his little messaging fit into the playbook, it becomes painfully obvious that the real target was never the virus. It was you. He went on to describe how a cabal of Fauciites manipulated the data to predetermine that COVID did not come from a lab, even though that was the most obvious explanation. Tried to do everything they could bureaucratically to get around the rules about gain-of-function research. This guy calls it an American tragedy, and boy, it was 100%. Makes all the Democrats cry about Donald Trump's supposed fascism ring so hollow. Please. Closest thing I have ever seen to a dictatorship in this country was the Biden-Fauci COVID regime. That must never, ever be allowed to happen again. We are all perfectly awake now. They are not going to pull this off on us again. We will not let them. We refuse. Jack spent his first birthday, December 2nd, 2020, with no other family because of these lies. No big first celebration. See? You see? That's Danny in the chat. Wow. A shame. Well, make it up to him this year. Hey, by the way, I just noticed Jack's birthday is the day after Miko's birthday. She is, December 1st is her birthday. She will be 5 years old in just a few days. Miko's turning 5. How about that? Born, you know what? Jack would be 6, right? According to what you just wrote there. Anyway, they're very close in age. Although, is it 7 years to 1 for dogs and humans? So that would make Miko about turning 35. A little older. Anyway. I will certainly remember, at least I'll try. If you don't remind me, please do. But happy birthday, Jack. And by the way, Danny, just a little private between you and I'm I'm so excited about what we talked about offline. I cannot wait. The big 38 for you tomorrow, Danny. Wow, happy birthday. 38, you are a child. Aw. Wow. Happy birthday. All right. Man. Yes, 6 years old. Okay. More upsetting news. The seditionist Blue Falcon Democrats are stunned that they're being held accountable for their behavior. Can you imagine? Oh, look, there's the seditionist traitor now. The problem with getting a free pass on your responsibilities is that after a while, you begin to think that you don't have any. And that's exactly what's happened to the Democrats. They've gotten so used to thinking the rules don't apply to them because orange man bad. When the rules do apply to them, it feels like oppression, outrageous oppression. You're oppressing me. Take the illegal orders video. Combination of stupidity, narcissism, treachery, blue falconry, rarely equaled even by the low standards of the Democrats. These 6 schmucks who appeared in this video been congratulating themselves on their courage for the past week. It was the courage to cajole other people into nuking their lives for a news cycle of Democrat spin. That's it. Full stop. Except this time, there's been a bit of fallout. Trump admin could have given them a pass. They're used to perpetually getting a pass. That's what they do because they're Democrats. But he ain't offering one this time. And they are pearl-clutching mortified. Oh, well. Let's talk about Captain Mark Kelly. And I emphasize Captain because Captain Mark Kelly always uses his rank in his X username and everywhere else because it's important to him that he is a captain. Yes, your rank belongs next to your bio because that's what you were. It's a credential. Take it for what it's worth, but it's not in a lot of people's usernames. It is tacky to use your rank all the time. It's actually more important for other reasons. Anyway, Captain Kelly is now being investigated under the UCMJ, Universal Military Code of Justice. And that's for his participation in that obnoxious video. And that's not a good thing for him. He could potentially be called back to active duty, and he should be prosecuted in the court-martial. At the outset, got some questions about whether or not it's a good idea to do that, because I tend to defer to free speech even when there's a technical argument for prosecution. Normally, just let it be handled in the political arena. Let the chips fall where they may. But I'm sorry, folks, these ain't normal times. Thanks largely to Captain Mark Kelly and the rest of these idiots. I got to fall back on the threshold question, what's the rule? Well, the new rule, supported by all 6 of these people, is to use the legal system to target political opponents. That's what they do. Would they give Trump or any of his folks a pass? Abso-freaking-lutely not. We all know the answer, not only because they didn't give a pass, but actively invented crimes to harass them. There can only be one rule. I didn't want this to be the rule, but they overruled us, so they can choke on their new rule. That's a political analysis, not a legal one. You can weigh the credentials that the investigation is not frivolous because of a potential charge lies here. This is not like the crimes of Donald Trump, a frame job manufactured out of whole cloth. You can decide for yourself. You've seen the festival that was the video. And then look at the applicable statute, 18 U.S. Code 2387. Activities affecting armed forces generally, whoever with intent to interfere with, impair, or influence the loyalty, morale, or discipline of the military or naval forces of the United States, advises, counsels, urges, or in any manner causes or attempts to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States, or distributes or attempts to distribute any written or printed matter which advises, counsels, or urges insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both, and shall be ineligible for employment in the United States or any department or agency thereof for 5 years next following his conviction. That is the exact law. I read it verbatim. That's the statute. So you go ahead, make your own judgment. Mine, it is potentially applicable to every bit of the content we saw in that video. Every bit of it. Unbelievable. And if nothing happens, we're going to be pissed. We're going to be screaming about it. Hegseth, Trump, get off your ass and move. Do something. Do not wait another minute. You can reactivate this knucklehead Kelly right now. Have your trial on Sunday and send him to the brig on Monday. Why not? That's how it ought to go down. It likely will not. Something's got to happen and hopefully will. But you can bet your sweet Bippy will be watching. Damn close. All right. Sorry. Just a little more blackout coffee. This is the coolest story. If it weren't on videotape, I wouldn't believe it. This could be the first recorded use of a tool by a wild wolf. Story comes out of British Columbia. And back in 2023, crab traps were placed along the coast, and they started to show mysterious damage. The Heiltsuk Nation, which is an indigenous group in Canada, had set them up to capture destructive invasion European green crabs. Well, sometimes these traps became completely destroyed. Other times their nets have been torn, and whoever raided the traps always went after the plastic bait cups, which held little bits of herring or sea lion carcass. It looked like the work of wolves or bears, perhaps, but a lot of the compromised traps were still underwater during low tide. So maybe they're thinking sea otters. So to find out, in partnership with the Heilsuk Guardians, a group that monitors the territory and conducts their own research, set up a camera pointed at the underwater crab trap in May of 2024. This camera captured a wolf nabbing the bait from the crab trap. And in this new study describing the behavior in the Journal of Ecology and Evolution, the researchers suggest the incident might be the first reported tool use by a wild wolf. This is insane. Watch this. He's got the buoy there. Now watch what he does. That's a wild wolf. Looks like Miko when she goes swimming. Goes out, grabs the rope. Check this out. And look out there in the water, there's the trap. He's pulling on it, goes back and gets the shorter end of the rope. Look at that. That little pink cup there is the bait cup. This is insane. He's prying the bait cup off the trap. You'll see in a minute he gets it loose. There you go. By the way, if you're listening on the podcast, you can go to Rumble or X and check out the video. It's amazing. He's working damn hard to get that bait cup off there. Or what's in it. That is incredible. Look at that. And there he's got the bait cup in his mouth. And eating the contents. Look at that. How wild is that? The footage shows this female wolf, what you just saw, stepping backwards, gets the trap out, pulls the bait cup off, eats the contents. That is tool use, folks. Every motion, perfectly efficient. You see, she went up twice. She grabbed the rope shorter and then walked backwards, pulling it out. Insane. I couldn't believe it, says Smith, who wasn't involved with the new work, referring to early dingo observations. At the time, the list of animals known to be capable of higher order tasks going beyond using their instincts and simple reactions was very short. Included primates, dolphins, elephants, and crows. They've seen this same kind of action, tool use, in dingoes in Australia. This new study shows how adaptable and clever wild wolves really are. And while the dingoes lived in a sanctuary, this wolf behavior, that is a wild wolf out in the wild, shot on a hidden trail cam, which makes this discovery even more amazing. Wolves using tools. That's like incredible. Wow. Hey, did you do any Black Friday shopping yet? I know it's early. It's only like, 10:30, 10:40 in the morning. But come on. You got to get the good deals, right? Well, here's an interesting story. Shoppers for Black Friday sales are not going after the big luxury goods. According to research, they're opting for basics over luxury goods this Black Friday, which is crazy. But Black Friday is going to the dogs, folks. Huge number of shoppers taking advantage of deep discounts this holiday season to scoop up everyday items like dog and cat food, detergent, socks, underwear. Not luxury items. They're not going out and buying Rolexes or new Teslas. Consumers are fretting about job security, the rising cost of living, and this all according to a report in Bloomberg. More than, 6 in 10 shoppers recently said they were planning on buying the bare necessities instead of the fancier items during sales, according to consultancy Deloitte. 58% of the survey respondents said the same thing. Flagstaff, Arizona resident Elise Fisher reportedly plans to stock up on 40-pound bags of Purina kibble for her rescue dogs. Now, in years past, the government worker shopped for a new TV, high-end Dutch oven, she told Bloomberg. Not this year. Says we're seeing a strong early surge in sales this Black Friday and Cyber Monday season. The CEO of dog supplement company Native Pet told the Post. Pet parents are stocking up on supplements. Consumers like Fisher jittery about their finances and a growing number of companies announcing layoffs and inflation rages across the country. And said shifts in the tariff policy have added to the uncertainty. So customers are using the mecca of shopping days to restock on essentials or give practical presents like gift cards instead of luxury items, chocolates, things like that. Can you imagine? I guess I can. Dawn dishwashing soap. Your big Black Friday deal. Hey, look, I got 50% off the dishwashing soap. But you got to do what you got to do. So these big luxury brands, you just might be in a little bit of trouble. Scary. What else? Oh. Should we? Yeah, let's wrap it up with this one. As you know, I am a big fanboy of Senator John Kennedy. He is just the GOAT when it comes to calling a spade a spade. He really is. So someone on TikTok put together about a minute's worth of compilation of Senator Kennedy doing what Senator Kennedy does best. And I wanted to share that with you.
I'm not saying you're the dumbest person in the world, but you better hope the dumbest person in the world doesn't die. I don't know why we have to give money to countries that hate us. They should be able to hate us for free. Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid. They can kiss my ass. Beauty fades. Dumb is forever. Words can't express how much I don't care. You hate cops just because they're cops? The next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. Senator Schumer never makes the same mistake twice. He makes it 5 or 6 times just to make sure he got it right. These people are about 10 exits past normal. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Somebody at the White House has been smoking the devil's lettuce, okay? The brain is an amazing organ. It starts working in a mother's womb, and it doesn't stop working until you get elected to Congress.
I think that last one's my favorite. Senator John Kennedy, gotta love him. All right, we're going to wrap it up for a Friday, and thank you for popping by. Danny, a very blessed happy birthday tomorrow. Wow. All right, and we got a lot going on. It's going to be a busy weekend. I think we'll probably put the tree up this weekend. That makes sense, huh? I'll take a picture. I'll get it up here on the stream for you on Monday, I hope. Enjoy your weekend. Spend it with someone you love, won't you? And we'll be back here on Monday. Please follow the show. Please head over to Blackout Coffee. Use the link in our show notes and check out those amazing Black Friday deals. Worst case, J20 at checkout if you're a first-time customer for 20% off. And it's there. Jay, you have to post this segment on Facebook so I can share. This is hilarious. You mean the Kennedy one? I can do that. I think I can do that. Yeah. All right. That's it. I'm done saying goodbye. So what else is there? Nothing. Happy weekend. Goodbye.